Lesson 4, Improving Concussion Safety.
In this lesson, you will learn what actions you can take to create a culture of concussion safety. You will also get an overview of subconcussive head impacts and CTE. Coaches like you often volunteer many hours to teach athletes about sports. Many times, this is because you understand the benefits of sports in a child's life, including keeping them healthy and active. The good news is that as a coach, there are many things you can do to help keep children active in sports, while also lowering the chance for concussion among your athletes. Next, we will cover 4 important tips about creating a culture of concussion safety. The first thing you can do to lower the chance for concussion is to teach athletes ways to avoid hits to the head. This may include using mats and spotters in cheerleading practice, or teaching tackling techniques that avoid hits to the head. Using rules that limit or remove the risk of collisions in sports can also help prevent head impacts. Every sport is different, so check the Resource Center to get tips and posters on concussion safety for your sport. Second, talk about concussion reporting. Athletes depend on you for guidance. So why is hearing from a coach about concussion reporting so important to athletes? In one study, as many as 60 to 70% of athletes did not report their concussion symptoms. It is up to you to foster an environment where athletes feel comfortable reporting concussion symptoms, no matter how important the game or event seems. When coaches deliver positive messages and praise athletes who report concussion symptoms, athletes feel more comfortable reporting the injury. Third, make sure that the rules of the sport are enforced and that athletes avoid unsafe actions. Aggressive and unsportsmanlike behavior among athletes can increase their chances of getting a concussion or other serious injury. Fourth, talk with athletes often about concussion. Make sure they know how to identify concussion symptoms among themselves and their teammates, and what to do if they think they have a concussion. Remember, playing with a concussion is not a sign of bravery. Instead, it puts the athlete and their team in greater danger. Let them know it's better to miss one game than miss the entire season, or the rest of their life. You can go to the Resource Center to get handouts and posters on concussion to keep on hand and to hang in locker rooms or other places where your athletes practice and compete. This will help athletes know when they might have a concussion and shows athletes that you take concussions seriously. Why is creating a culture of concussion safety important? A concussion can affect how a child thinks, acts, feels, and learns. Athletes who have ever had a concussion have a higher chance of getting another concussion. Repeat or multiple concussions can lead to more severe symptoms and a longer recovery. In addition to concussion, there has been growing attention on subconcussive head impacts in sports. This has led to increased concern among parents and others. So what are subconcussive head impacts? Subconcussive head impacts are bumps, blows, or jolts to the head. Unlike concussions, which cause symptoms, subconcussive head impacts do not cause symptoms. A collision while playing sports is one way a person can get a subconcussive head impact. More studies are needed to learn about subconcussive head impacts and how these impacts may or may not affect the brain in young athletes. There is also increased attention and concern about CTE, or chronic traumatic encephalopathy. So what is CTE? CTE is a brain disease that can only be diagnosed after death. It has been linked to specific changes in the brain that affect how the brain works. Most researchers believe that CTE is caused in part by traumatic brain injuries, including concussions, and by repeated subconcussive head impacts. However, understanding among researchers about the causes of CTE is currently limited. More studies are needed to learn the causes of CTE, its symptoms, and how it affects the brain. CDC created handouts to provide an overview on CTE and will continue to update these handouts as more information on CTE becomes available. Research on CTE is growing and more studies are needed to help answer many remaining questions. As a coach, you can do your part by helping teach athletes about ways to avoid head impacts and using rules that limit or remove the risks for contact or collisions among athletes.
Please click the Continue button to proceed, located at the bottom right corner indicated by the green arrow.